Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Blue Abroad Show, Monday, the 25th of March, 2024. Footy's back again. The bye is done for now. We have some clear runway until the next bye in a couple of months, so we don't have to worry about being bored on the weekend. And it's a very special week coming up. It's round 3. It's Good Friday. And I thought it was fitting that we get Nick Wishart back in from the Cheer Squad to talk all things preparation for this week, mate. How you doing?
I'm awesome, Terry. Thanks for having me on again. Hello, everyone. Yeah, you just mentioned it. Footy, we had our week off as the Blues, but even during the bye round, Carlton still managed a win. Our VFLW girls got a victory down at the Cattery. Yeah. So even when we get a week off, Carlton, just all we know how to do is win, mate. So but no, it's about to kick up a gear again this weekend. Not just we've got Good Friday footy in the seniors, but our VFL men's season starts on Friday as well. So they had a bye in round 1. It's byes everywhere, but it's going to be a big week for our footy club. I can't wait.
There's so much going on this week. Yeah. I did a chat with Cripsy earlier today, which went up at 5 p.m.
I watched that. I loved it, by the way. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And it just dawned on me, like it comes at you from so many different angles, and so many initiatives going on this week. We will talk about the cheer squads shortly, but yeah, you know what I felt after the first 2 rounds? I was like, I almost wasn't expecting how much the season hits you in the face. And then that's why the bye came at a good time. And now I'm hoping that I'm ready to go again, because it was pretty full on before the bye.
100% agree. I think I spoke to you just before round 0, I was about to say. After round 0. And it hadn't dawned on me that footy was back. It was a bit of a different vibe where we're in Brisbane rather than the traditional Carlton Richmond game. And things were they weren't better or worse. We had a ball up in Brisbane, even despite the win, in spite of the win. But it was just different vibe. And the second that first siren hit before the first game, second the siren goes, bang, we're in the zone. And mentally, I'm just on a white line fever hit me like that. It was great. Richmond on the weekend, I built myself up massively because we've just taken down the Lions and everything's awesome. Expecting to smash Richmond.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't the same again. It wasn't better or worse. But even the fans in the crowd, I don't know how you found it, but the fans in the crowd, I thought, rather than Carlton fans like we've come to know Carlton fans, being that extra player in the stand, getting them over the line when things are going 50-50, I think that Carlton fans were sitting there a bit quiet, expecting Carlton to come back rather than let's get involved and let's get this atmosphere. And it was good game, but I thought for Richmond Carlton standards, it just happened and Carlton got the job done and we did our bit. I'm hoping that now we're under the roof at Marvel. There's a bit of an echo. We're back in Harry's house, and about time we dine out on some kangaroos, I reckon.
Mate, kangaroo meat's good. It's actually really nice when you cook it. You got to cook it right. There's
not a lot of fat on it.
You got to cook it right. That's an interesting observation there. I watched Richmond and Port Adelaide yesterday, and I felt, I'm not being disrespectful to Richmond, I just felt like Port had no choice but almost to play down to Richmond. It was a really weird turn of events.
That's a good call. And maybe we did a bit of that. I know that I heard Jack Silvani, I think it was on 3AW, his comments, and he said, look, Carlton were a bit boring, predictable, and just played down the line, a bit of a slow brand, a bit boring and methodical. And that could have been a bit of Richmond forcing us into that. But even then, I thought our clearance work at one stage, I think scores from stoppages was like Richmond 45-4 or something. And at quarter time, the differential in contested possessions was our worst quarter of footy since Gather Round last year. So we weren't switched on as much as we could have. Maybe that's the emotional letdown after that massive comeback the week before. That we can forgive it. We're not angry and pointing fingers or anything. But I just think that, I mean, you take it, don't you? If you're playing okay footy and end up 2-0 to start the season, the bye came at a really good round, I think, for Carlton. We've got a bit of a time to reset ourselves, possibly get a few blokes back. I'm sure we'll talk about that. And yeah, set ourselves up from here. We've got a couple of games coming up that you really, really hope that they're setting themselves for. Not just the occasion of this Friday night, but gather around the following week. We've never won at the Adelaide Oval. We've got a few things to tick off and just start building our season, I think, in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah.
Yeah, start finding some continuity. Well, I was kind of hoping for an update on the injuries just before this show. So my hope is now moving to hopefully we get an update during the show.
While we're on.
In which case, chat, those of you watching at home, we're going to need your help. So if there is an update that comes through.
My wife's watching on YouTube downstairs. Get in the chat, Mish, if that's the case.
Beautiful.
She'll be hot on the button, no doubt.
All hands on deck. Well, you know what? Let's do a little exercise. So we'll start the preview for Friday based off the little bits of information that we've been given. And I'm even talking about Jacob Wiedering blurred photo in the background. Like
we saw him.
Yeah. I saw him today addressing the group in a photo. Based off all the little bits and pieces, what is your, and everyone in chat play on it as well. We'll go one by one. What is your gut feel for, will they play this week? Will they not? Why don't we start with Wiedering?
I think he'll play.
Yeah.
The timeline from his injury was 6 to 8 weeks. We've now given him 8. Then he's had the week off as well. That's 9. It's about ready now. I think he'll play. And it's going to be really tough. A lot has been said about Lewis Young. I think he's been good the last 2 weeks. And he's going to be stiff to be dropped. I think he's probably the one to go out ahead of Kemp. I think Kemp's more of a mainstay in the 22.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Lewis Young will be really stiff, but you can't keep Wiedering out, of course. But yeah, I think Wieders plays. What about you? Do you think he's in?
Based off the photos that I've seen, based off him being sort of front and center, I feel like he's available, and whether they play him this week or next week is the decision that you make. But I feel like I'm a lot more confident that he would play than what I was last week, I think, personally.
Yeah, fair call. Yeah.
Also, Young, yeah, I'm with you. Wiedering's out. You got to play Lewis Young. 1 goal kicked on him by Joe Danaher in week 1.
Yep.
Week 2 had a couple on kicked on him by Bolter, but I mean, we win the games, we come out with 8 points, and away we go. Yep. So fair play to Lewis. Sam Walsh. It's just the biggest story at the moment.
Great unknown, isn't it?
So good. It's so good.
My gut feel is he won't. Well, not my gut feel. I'm almost certain he won't play this week.
Yeah,
I think we'll learn about Walshy before this Friday what the proposed timeline is. My feel is that we'll find out, let's say by Friday, they'll give us either he's playing gather round or the week after gather round, or the rumours are still going around that he might need surgery and stuff. He was pretty emphatic before the Richmond game. I think he spoke either on radio or a club function saying, no, I'm on track. And Brad Lloyd also was speaking that day and was very emphatic, saying, no. I think it was it Mitch Cleary's Channel 7, the report that they're going to put him away or potentially put him away for surgery. They were very emphatic that at that point in time that he was still on track and they were still hoping to have him after the bye. If that is the case, I think we might see him probably the week after gather round. I reckon they'll give him this week and then one more just to be certain. And then I think after that we've got after that? The Crows at the G, don't we have? I think
Crows at Marvel and then Giants at Marvel. I think
maybe that's the order. Yeah, I think that's when we might start to see him. I think give him 2 more.
I wouldn't mind.
There's a lot on the line with Walshy. Yeah, you just can't. I know that he's a bull at a gate and he wants to run.
Yeah,
but you just got to pull that lead back a tiny bit and just keep him on the reins.
Bring him back in round 10. Like just push it out. Like
get to 9-0 and then worry.
honestly, where I'm at with Walsh is okay. He's had a setback, and this is just me talking irrationally now. But like, let him play. Just build him up until 8 weeks to go until finals, and start the season from there. But obviously, you want to get him in the side, play as many games as possible. He wants to play as many games as possible. But I'm happy to see him out for another month if it means when he's back, he's Sam Walsh.
I think we can use last year for Walsh as a comparison. So he started the year off, a lot of interrupted preseason. I think it was a Good Friday was his first game, or was it Gather Round? It was Gather Round.
Yeah, Gather Round it was
his first game. And it took him a couple of weeks just to ease in, and we kind of thought, oh, he's kind of come back 50, 60%, and he was. It took him a bit. But by the middle of the year, when, again, Carlton's form was a lot of the players in the same boat, but when the form started to turn, he just hit his strides. And by the end of last year, how much have we said about his finals campaign? Nothing short of magic watching him run around in both finals, but that Melbourne final especially, that's Cooter of 99. That's Judd elimination final versus Sydney. That's really, really special performance he was putting in. So you're right. You want him peaking then, not now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you might be right. Another week or two, I think, as well. Just don't rush him. At the moment, touch wood, famous last words, but at the moment, Jack Carroll in his place is not doing much wrong.
Mm-hmm. All right. Marchbank.
I think he'll come back via VFL. And that's not to say that he's not in my best 22. Just think that there's been no VFL form to go off. He hasn't played even a pracky game or anything recently to go off. I think he probably needs one or so under his belt before you pick him in the seniors, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Personal opinion.
Say he had a couple of games in the VFL, played well, hand up for selection. Who comes out? Yeah.
I don't envy the person having to pick it.
It's tough.
And it's not just him. You've got to find room for Jack Martin soon. You've got to find room for a lot.
Motlop. We'll get to him too. Elijah.
Yep. Elijah's the other. I mean, yep. It's going to be this is good problems to have.
Yep.
Well, how many years did we pick players because they've they've got potential. You got to get games into the kids. You got to get games. They're doing nothing to deserve it, but you got to get games into them. Times have changed a bit. It's a good feeling.
So true. So true. So that's Marchie. Jack Martin. I reckon I haven't seen him in anything, like literally anything. So I'm a bit more. I don't think he'll play this week.
No, I don't think he'll play, and I don't think he'll play Gather Round either. I've got no info on him over the past fortnight. I haven't heard much either. Exact wording was you. I just haven't seen or heard of him or heard from him for a while. My gut feel is he's at least 2 weeks away. I feel if he was close, we'd have heard about him or at least seen him in photos and stuff.
Yeah. And then Motlop. I feel like out of all of them on the injury list, Motlop and Wiedering are the ones that makes the most sense to come in this week.
Yep.
We will get to Elijah Pommy. Don't worry about that. That's coming.
Motlop for me, I've got two scenarios in my head. Either Corey Durden, who was the sub last weekend, comes into the 22 and Motts becomes your sub, or Motlop comes in, Durden remains your sub. Either of those scenarios I think will happen. I think Motlop plays in some capacity, either as the sub or he plays in the team. The beauty about being at I can't take that. I take that back. I was about to say being on a Friday, if you are the sub, you can still play VFL, but the VFL played before that. So there goes that theory of mine.
Yeah. So
but I think he gets up.
Yeah, I think he gets up, and I think he would come in for Fantasia.
I agree. So does he come in? Does Durden remain sub, or does Durden come out and play a VFL game? What happens there?
I don't know.
Because I thought Durden made a difference when he came on. I thought he was good in the last quarter.
I love that I don't know. Yeah, yeah. They obviously
Again,
like Durden. They obviously like what he brings.
I do too. I think he's
Yeah.
again pre-season. What I saw from Fantasia, I was like, oh, he's playing round one. He's in.
Yeah.
2 games hasn't impacted the scoreboard. The fewest tackles of that half forward group. He's first out for mine.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, the big question. So Elijah Hollins, the suspension has officially come to an end.
Yep.
To play him or not to play him is the question.
All signs pre-season, they had him heavily involved in all their stuff and all their. So I think they've got him in their 22 or 23, whatever you call it. But again, the question comes, who comes out? So for me, Lockie Fogarty is an absolute lock.
Yeah.
I won't hear any argument against. He's in my team.
Yeah.
No one brings the tackling pressure and the forward pressure that he does. Score involvements, all of it. He's great. Matt Cottrell has done enough to keep his spot for mine. The next in line, he's hitting the scoreboard at important moments, but I feel that he's the most likely to give way for Elijah.
So when I did the rating show with Pommy for the Richmond game, now we've got the heat maps, and I had a look at each one that comes up, and of all the heat maps that came up, where I'm like, okay, where would Elijah play? Who would Elijah be? It was Cunners, and that's not to say that Cunners would come out of the side, but I think where Cunners had the football and what he did with it, I'm like, that's kind of where I picture Elijah
Same
playing.
sort of role.
Yep.
Yeah, Cunners had a couple of moments. There was one late in the Brisbane game where he ran through a pack at full speed, crumbed a ruck contest in our forward 50. And I think it was he ends up getting the ball out to Harry, who has his banana shot that fell short. I think Gardner's standing on the line and smothered it. That shot at goal came about because Cunningham ran through the stoppage, Judd style. And I hate using the terminology like that, but I guess the only comparison I can make. And I remember sitting there going, oh, last quarter, not a lot of players keep that sort of speed late in the game. Against Richmond, he's not alone. A lot of people kind of butchered the footy at times. It was a pretty scrappy affair. So I'm not going to hold a grudge against him for his performance or lack of against the Tigers. I thought he was all right without being great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think positionally, I think that's you're right with that sort of player. That's the like for like. He'd probably be the next in line. But he hasn't done a hell of a lot wrong.
He hasn't done a hell of a lot wrong at all. I always try and find little memories of things. Do you remember it probably was 2020, Dave Cunningham in the wet, kicked the goal late to win the game?
It was against North Melbourne, wasn't it, at the Gabba?
Yeah, well,
yeah, it was.
Don't know where
Kicks
we played.
Up half forward line, yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
So I'd like to see Cunners back to half forward and let Elijah run around and take those midfield minutes personally.
The thing with Elijah as well, he offers a bit of size that without Jack Martin up there as that faux third tall who can kind of run off the corner of the square at a stoppage and bash someone like Aaron Hamill used to do back in the day, or Kennedy's kind of playing that role. Cripps has had a bit more time forward as well. They're both doing a fair bit of rucking. Kennedy's done a few ruck contests around the ground. If Hewitt comes in and plays that kind of half forward, sort of high half forward role, Kennedy's kind of freed up a bit. He can kind of play some midfield minutes. He can pinch hit in the ruck. He can kind of play forward. It kind of frees up Kennedy's role a bit. And if Kennedy then moves back into the midfield, does another midfielder maybe make way? Like I feel like I'm picking on Jack Carroll, but maybe he's then in trouble. I don't know. I've loved his first 2 games, but where is he on the pecking order? It'd be really interesting.
Yeah. Pommy literally took the thought out of my mind. So with Elijah, I mean, isn't Elijah like a biblical name? And it's like an
Names
Easter,
straight out of the Bible.
like there's rebirth, Easter, Jesus, like a little bit of that tied in. Elijah, second chance, rebirth.
I can't say I've read it back to front. I think there's a book in the Bible, the book of Elijah. I think I might
Something
be
like that,
talking out of
right?
my ass. Sorry to all the non-heathens watching this on. Yep.
So yeah, listen, I don't remember having 5 names to discuss like we just have, or 6 names, and really struggling to this degree to
Yep.
put them all in. When I know that the 5 names that we've mentioned are all what I think is in our best side right now, but because of the form of the team, some of the guys in the team at the moment, like I don't recall many times having this level of difficulty.
No, strongly agree. I'll say it again. It's a great problem to have. And then on top of that, then you've got like Walsh, Martin to come back in again. There's still a lot of guys who I think are part of our future in a big way. Younger guys like a Lockie Cowan. I think he's going to get a few games this year. I think Chincotter's still got a lot to offer. We're not even discussing their names.
True.
And they've still got a lot. So I think that there's a lot to come from this side. You've got to keep them fit. Yep. But there's a lot to like about where this list is at. And just got to get ourselves, as you mentioned before with Walsh, just if we can make it ourselves start firing at the right end of the season. History tells you've only got to be good on the last day of the year. That's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah,
you can be as good as you want before then. It means nothing if you're not there at the end of the day.
That is true. A little bit about North. Have you watched much of North ball? Have you caught any of North ball?
Generally, I would say it's not a pastime that I enjoy watching, but I watch them versus Freo because I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Dockers. I think they're a underrated side. A lot of players I like individually, but first quarter North kind of jumped them a bit, and I feel that the Dockers the Dockers weren't ready. I think North Melbourne came out for lack of having anyone in their back six. They kind of said, well, if we haven't got a back line, stuff it. Let's just go all out attack. And they ran, and they kind of jumped Freo a bit and looked pretty good out the gate. It's not sustainable, that type of footy they're playing, but it was a precursor to what they're trying to build towards as they grow and develop. They're a very young side. But I think, look, there's obvious challenges that they've got as a club, as a list. But I thought they've made an okay account of themselves versus Freo. I think Freo's a half okay side, but I think the bloke in the graphic behind you, Zachy Fisher, I thought he played all right on the weekend.
It's good to see Zach playing good footy, getting a bit of a pill.
I'm happy for him. Like, I don't like this idea that just because they're not at Carlton anymore, we throw shade at them and stuff. There's a difference between someone like Zach, who writing was really on the wall where he was at in our club. Another club offered him more years, a permanent best 22 spot. You're stupid not to say yes to that. Good luck to the kid. There's a difference between something like that and Lockie Henderson taking his ball and going home and cracking the sads. I've got nothing but love for Zachy Fisher. He's a good kid. I wish him all the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing him, line up on the weekend against a Matty Cottrell or someone, and I just want to see if Zach can withstand a Matt Cottrell tackle or something. I'm sure there'll be a bit of a friendly banter back and forth between our boys. Got no doubt about that. So,
mate, I can't wait for him to actually kick it to Charlie this weekend.
Just for old time's sake.
Yeah. No, you know what? On Fish, I think, it's done. He's gone. Good luck to him. Wish him all the best. To be fair to him, whenever any player leaves, like I always look at it like, okay, did we get enough from what we invested into him? I think pick 27, he ended up being better than, in my view, he ended up giving us more than Paddy Dow, Lockie O'Brien, SPS combined.
Strongly agree.
And for that reason alone, plus he played 100 games for the club. For that reason alone, I sort of look at the Zach Fisher experience. I'm like, good luck and thank you. Whereas the others, I feel like we didn't get the best out of you guys, and like also good luck, but also, you know,
100%. And Fisher, I think, was he end of first round? Was he picked 27?
Pick 27.
The second round pick.
Mm.
The three guys you just named were all top 10. Liam Stocker was a first round pick. Sam Philp was a first round pick. I'd throw two more names. I reckon Fisher gave us more than 5 of those guys combined. So I don't like a lot of those other guys we've named. Got a lot of time for Liam Stocker as a footballer and a person. Paddy Dow, I love. But yeah, I mean, Fisher's got his name on a very, very special locker at our club. He's got his name on that because he's played 100 games. You know, I've got a lot of love for the guy.
No, very good. Now, there's a lot going on this week. Let's start with Cheer Squad. What does the week look like for the Cheer Squad as I get the raffle link up?
It's already been a big week. It's been huge. So the beauty about being a buy is for our Cheer Squad. So a lot of people know our Cheer Squad do raffles every week. Usually fundraising for ourselves or interstate supporter groups. And that's our way of giving back to the club and supporting the club. But the beauty about having a buy pre-Good Friday means that we've had 2 weeks to really advertise and to lead into our raffle for this week coming for Good Friday. And all the money goes toward the Good Friday appeal, which is really, really special. And I'm so wrapped that our club's part of this game. I watched your video, as I said, with Cripsy earlier today. And just hearing people's personal stories about what the Kids Hospital means to them personally is something that our Cheer Squad's not immune to. My own wife, we've had family members involved with the Kids Hospital. They've done a lot for our families over the journey. But last year was the first time that Carlton were part of this game. And at first I thought, this is fun. We get to play on Good Friday. That's good. You get a marquee game. That's all I thought of it when they first announced it. And then as we started preparing things and, let's do our fundraiser for the Kids Hospital, and it kind of dawned on me as we started speaking to people just the gravity and the size of what this event means to our club and the community as a byproduct of that community. So last year, where our raffle was the same as this time, we did a team sign Guernsey, raffling off. I think we did last year a team sign footy, raffling off. All proceeds go to the Kids Hospital. And we were overcome with emotion during the week, having people inboxing us saying, hey, thanks so much for what you're doing. Here's my story about what the Royal Children's Hospital have done for my family, and that people spilling their guts, and really, really powerful stuff. And that's beautiful in itself. But then on game day, before the game and at quarter time break and everything, you'll see us again selling our raffle tickets at the top of the Cheer Squad bay. People coming in with $100 notes, $50 notes, hand over fist is giving us cash. And again, as they're lining up, sharing stories about, this is so good to be part of a game like this because my son has had issues with XYZ, my little cousin, my nephew, my daughter, whatever it is. And people, again, sharing their stories about kids who've benefited from the work that the Kids Hospital do. Some of them have shared stories about family members and kids that haven't made it, which is horrifying stories. But yet there's a silver lining, not a silver lining, it sounds horrible, but there's a love and an element of love and care in their voices as they're speaking about the nurses and the staff and the volunteers and the community groups based around the Kids Hospital. So then this year we said, we've got to go get around it again. So last year our Cheer Squad raised $12,000 for the Kids Hospital. And we donated that to the Good Friday appeal via Cripsy's fundraiser. So for those who haven't seen the video preceding this on Blue Abroad, get onto it and watch the amazing stuff that Cripsy's involved with in life. He's a prince of a man. I think the world of him. But out of that, the amazing work that this organization do, I'm blessed to say, personally, I haven't had a direct link to the Kids Hospital. I haven't needed their services. But when you learn how many families are in need of it and how many families are affected by the amazing work they do each year, it kind of becomes real. And so I think there's 50,000 children from Victoria.
You there? I think we lost you, mate. Let's bring him back. We'll just wait for him to come back. In the meantime, while Nick's coming back, guys, in the chat right now, I'm going to put the link to the Cheer Squad raffle. So I've just put it in there for the second time. Now, the details on this are as follows. 10 tickets for $10, 50 tickets for $20, and 200 tickets for $50. Okay, so you can see there, fundraising for the Good Friday Appeal. Nick, you there?
I'm here. Sorry about that.
It's okay, mate. I was just working off instinct right there. Just went into flight mode. But I was just talking about the raffle and the link to buy the tickets.
100%. Yeah.
And so,
last year we managed to raise 12,000. I don't want to give too much away. We're trying to beat that this year. We're on track to do so. And what the message I'd love to give everyone, and I was rapt to hear yourself and Cripsy talk about it earlier. We understand that not everyone is in a position where they are able to give financially. We get it. Everyone's circumstances are different. If you are someone who plans on donating in some capacity to the Royal Children's Hospital, that's awesome. Wherever and however you choose to donate, amazing. If you chose to do that through our raffle, it gives you a chance to win a team-signed Guernsey. So there's a potential to get something for your donation. It's a bit of fun. So, yeah, that's why we're doing our fundraiser. We're also involved with the Danini's Friday luncheon, which is just I think it's going to be, I don't want to hype it I feel it's going to be a great, great event.
I love how you said the Danini's, because it's got a bit of that to it. It's like the Danini's experience on Friday. It's massive.
Yep. And for those of you who have already booked a table or a ticket to go to that and who've never been to Danini's before, I'm not just saying it because they're friends. I'm not just saying it because they're Carlton people. I believe it's the best restaurant in Melbourne. My wife and I are permanent fixtures in that establishment. I believe I took you. Was that your first time you went? Was that with us, or you been before?
Yes, that was the first time. Yeah, that was with you. That's right. Oh,
so
yeah.
I take pride in breaking people into the Danini's experience, and my wife and I love it. If you're a Carlton person, watch the Danini's Carlton People episode with Terry from about a week or so ago, but also go and visit that place. You'll learn the Carlton history that has taken place within those four walls. Will blow your mind. The links that establishment has with our club and all that has gone on there. I think an opportunity for Carlton people to get together. I'm a lucky one. I get to go interstate every week and travel the country watching our club and going to interstate supporter group functions pre-game and experiencing that vibe. In Melbourne, we don't really do anything like that. There's no pre-game functions or anything in Melbourne. It's kind of just turn up at the gate and let's go. I think it'll be an opportunity for Victorian-based people to kind of get together, talk about footy, talk about Carlton, and just be together in each other's company while, dare I say it, having one of the great meals you'll have as well. So, yeah, if you haven't already booked, do it, because I think it's going to be a great event. I really do.
Yes. So link is now in the chat. If you're going to book a table, last I checked, which was earlier today, they're only
pretty close to full. I know that much.
Yeah, there was only one or two tables available at 1:30. So it'll be gone by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. So don't wait. Yep. Book it. What time are you going?
So Cheer Squad's kind of booked an early sitting. So we've got to get out and get to the ground to set up the banner and do all that sort of jazz. And so, yeah, we'll be on the first sitting. I think there's a table of 25 of us booked. when Marco and Ricardo hit me up and said, yeah, we'll find a table for you. How many do you need? And I said, oh, it's 25, okay? Yeah, we'll make it work. So if you can't get a table, sorry, that's our fault. We'll eat quickly and get out so you can get your table.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be a great day. We can't wait.
It'll be great. Yeah, I'm at the 1:30 sitting, so I will probably see you guys on the way out. We'll be on the way in.
The night. We'll pack up and eat quickly so you guys can get seated.
Yep. All right, mate. Anything else on the agenda that I've missed? Anything else on your mind? What else you got?
Look, for us, we've got our banner night is Thursday night, and we're actually hosting North Melbourne, so we're making a joint banner for the special occasion. So North Cheer Squad are going to be coming along, and even that little act, you realise it's about the community. So geographically, North and Carlton are the two closest clubs to the kids' hospital, and we got to visit there where they make their banner last year in North Melbourne and be a part of that with them. And they were really cool people. They're like us. They're passionate about their club, and a lot of them were sharing because they've been a part of this fixture since its inception, North. So they're kind of a bit more experienced about the occasion and everything, and speaking to them about their previous experiences and some of their fundraising efforts and what they've seen and done was really cool as well. So we get the opportunity to host them this year at Icon Park to make the banner together on Thursday, which is really cool. And just one other thing really quickly, if I can, a quick little plug. Our cheer squad today, both on Instagram and Facebook, you might have seen a post we put out. We've been hit up by a group called Star Kicks, and it's an app. You might have heard of things like Cameo or Swish, where you can get a footy player or a musician to hit you up and send you a video message of, oh, hi, Terry, happy birthday. Thanks for the support. Go Blues from whoever. This app is similar to that, but instead of just getting a video message, you actually have a face-to-face video call with this celebrity of your choice. And they've hit us up because they've got Patrick Cripps on board, and they, along with Cripper, have gifted for free 2 people the chance to have a video call one-on-one with Patrick Cripps. So they've given that to us as a free donation to us. So we've put a thing on our Instagram and our Facebook. If you would love a one-on-one video call with Patrick Cripps tomorrow, which will be Tuesday the 26th, you've got an opportunity to do it. All the details are on our Cheer Squad page. All you got to do is download their app and inbox the Cheer Squad or comment on the Cheer Squad's post. What would you say to Cripper if you had the opportunity? And that's awesome. So these are the sort of groups that are getting around the Carlton Footy Club and kind of our Cheer Squad and saying, hey, we think your members are awesome. We love Carlton fans' passion, etc. And Cripper, along with this group Star Kicks, have kind of said to us, hey, Cripper wants to give a few free video calls out to Carlton fans. And I think that's awesome. So, yeah, we're heavily promoting that. That's an awesome gesture that Cripper and Star Kicks have given. So yeah, Eddie, if you're interested in a one-on-one video chat with the great man himself tomorrow, what would you say, Terry? If you get,
I was just about to ask
5 minutes one-on-one with Paddy Cripps, eh? Keep it PG in the comments, everyone. By the way,
yeah. What would I say? You know what? I would want to know a bit about what were the. No, I'll get too deep and personal with it. No, I'd want to dive right into his mind and
strongly agree. I want to pick that brain.
Just the maturity and watching where he was, even just hearing him speak in front of a camera, for example, and watching how he goes about it now. We're at the Hall of Fame function last week, and he used a word byproduct in a sentence so eloquently, and I was like, wow, like he's come such a long way.
Our boy's growing up, sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're entering into Daddy Cripps era,
Pretty close.
Yeah. So I think just probably around his mentality. I'd love to know how close he really got to potentially leaving. If that was even,
if it was ever a
serious.
Real thing,
yeah, exactly right. Was it like Travis Boak who was close to coming to Geelong, or was it just one of those things where you just had to think about it a little bit longer? So, I would probably tap into his mind a little bit.
Yeah, and I think sorry,
what would you say to him?
I would struggle to keep it PG. I love the man. I adore him. He's an Adonis. Similar to you, I want to pick that brain. Do you know how you can bump who you want, Cripper? Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't read that before I put
He
it up.
bumps who he wants. He bumps who he wants.
Kind of does do what he wants.
Don't tell Calamarchi, the poor fella.
Yeah.
No, look, I'd love, similar to you, I'd love to know about how his preparation is changing and his role in the club. The leader Cripps seems to be more at the front than the player Cripps at the moment. He's had two very good games, but I've seen him kind of, like all of them, I have to do my role rather than get on my back, let's go do it today sort of thing. And I'm sure there'll be games where he still will and other players will still do this sort of thing. But I think his focus and his mentality's really shifted over probably since the COVID years. I know that he struggled a bit and being away, the lockdowns and the hubs and everything. He and Monique have spoken quite extensively about how they both struggled during those years. But then coming out of that, they got engaged. Now they're starting to, they got married, but they're now seeking to raise a family and stuff together. He's a real maturity's gone on in the group, but I think he's one of the people at the forefront of that, and just where he's at in life. I think he's a really fascinating dude to listen to.
Yeah, no, I like it. All right, well, Nick, it's been great.
Pleasure, brother, as always.
Thanks so much for jumping on, and we'll see you later in the week. Simple as that.
I will. I'll see you for a plate of Tristi pasta at Danini on Friday, mate.
Yes, sir. Indeed, you will.
Look forward to it, brother. Thanks, everyone, as well. Watching on. Go the Blues.